We in it. Happy late chapter today, y'all. Boruto 59. And I want to say I did after day 2, I do enjoy this episode. I mean not episode, nigga. I'm still on the motherfucking anime. I enjoy this chapter. I think this was a sneakily solid one, and I say that because we didn't get an information dump. We didn't get all that much of action. We did get a new character, but what I really think was the star of this was Amado, and the way a lot of what he has been doing came together in this episode, right? I think this kind of was a chapter that utilized information that came from Amado's mouth in past chapters and kind of just pieced it together and displayed it here in this one. And even things that he didn't say were utilized, right? Like there's moments where Amado may talk to certain characters and then let them go on and assume things. Like he'll stay quiet and not necessarily tell the full truth in situations. And this pretty much this shows a second side of him at the same time, where it's all of a sudden kind of like harsh and abrupt. Like some of the information, like when he told Kawaki, yo bro, you're still a vessel, it kind of felt out of nowhere. As a reader, I was like, yo, what are you talking about? Like I thought that was Kishimoto kind of fucking shit, like, are you changing the story? But then I went back and I was like, oh, he's actually, this is facts, like this shit is actually happening. And while I'm here, let's get into it. So I said this shit for the second time. I'm thinking about my nigga Metal Lee and shit. Amado's vessel talk makes sense in some parts, and I say in some parts because I think is what it's intended to do. We're not necessarily supposed to trust this boy. And initially, I wasn't really feeling what was happening in this moment where he's discussing how Kawaki is still a vessel. And I thought, like I said, this is Kishimoto. This is maybe a product of a change in writing, a change in writers and authors, and the story not necessarily connecting dots on certain aspects. However, I didn't fully grasp what was going on until I reread older chapters, and I started with the whole Kashin Koji versus Jigen. In that scene where he's explaining to Sasuke, because Sasuke kind of has doubts of what Amado was explaining in the first place, and these are quotes coming from Amado himself. So all other karma, this was in black bold letters, implanted on other vessels, once again in bold, are simultaneously erased. And that's on vessels, like on other vessels. So that would exclude Code because he's not a vessel. That's why he still has his karma seal. The second thing he says pretty much after that, and this is when Kawaki loses his karma, he no longer possesses even a single vessel for the purposes of reincarnating. So at that moment, he cannot reincarnate. He still has a vessel, but not for the purpose of reincarnating. Now, at this moment, this is when Kawaki wakes up. This is like the following chapter. He's waking up. Where the fuck is everybody? Where's Boruto? They all, get teleported into that other dimension to fight him. This is where Amado says, your karma was there to allow Ishiki to resurrect. But however, that's canceled. It happened through Jigen. Now, this was where shit kind of got fucked up, because I knew someone had said that he was no longer a vessel. That never came out of Amado's mouth. That was Shikamaru. So Shikamaru says to Kawaki, you're no longer Ishiki's vessel. You're free as a bird. And that's when, Kawaki has his rebuttal, like, oh, he's still after me. I'm not free. And while all this is happening, Amado, there's like a picture of him. It's like he's sitting in silence. It's just ... Like, all right, believe what you want. He's smoking a cigarette. He's not interfering. So this is, and even Summer, she kind of comes to the conclusion, like, okay, you want to give him karma, but you're not telling us why. Like, what are your motives? So Amado will tell you the truth, but he won't tell you the whole truth. He'll tell you bits and pieces of it to what benefits him. And he may come out and say flat out lies, because I'm still trying to figure out how Code could get to the Ten Tails dimension if he, quote unquote, is unable to use space-time ninjutsu. However, how could he not? Because he has a karma seal and the access to Ishiki's powers. That would include space-time ninjutsu. So I don't get that. I don't know if he's flat out lying or if that's just, some other ways he has another way to do so. And now we get into the quotes of the current chapter 59. So, Ishiki's soul is gone and can no longer possess you. However, you're still his vessel, right? So that would kind of tie into what I was just saying, where when like Kashin Koji versus Jigen, he no longer possesses a single vessel for the purpose of reincarnating. Now that soul is gone, and he is no longer allowed to repossess it because, you know, the nigga's dead. You're still his vessel though. And this would be a legitimate way of, let's say, a character saying, hey, I never said that, rather than fucking Kurama telling Naruto he will die in one chapter, which Ikimoto wrote, and or Kadachi, I mean, he wrote, hey, bruh, this shit will kill you. Then all of a sudden Kishimoto comes in, hey, I never said that. I never said you would fucking die. So that's what I mean by that, like a change in writers. I thought this was one of those blunder type things. And then on to my final point about the whole karma situation. My question is, and it's probably the same thing along with Sumire, who kind of like, what are your motives for giving him the karma seal again? So like, reopen the door. He says reopen the door, but reopen the door for who? Is it Kawaki? Is it someone else? Or could this essentially be a possibility to turn Kawaki into like a soulless AI where, okay, the actual soul, the essence of Ishiki doesn't take over Kawaki, but this now upgrades Kawaki's Otsutsuki DNA within him to 100%, making Kawaki a full-on damn near Otsutsuki member who has 100% of Jigen's power minus his soul, and on top of that is a product of Amado, who now can control, whether it be remotely, whether it be through other means that we don't know about yet. Essentially, Amado having control over an Otsutsuki as a puppet, like some type of puppet weapon. Because if you notice in the fight that happened yesterday, Jigen as a vessel was able to access powers that we haven't seen Kawaki do. The chakra rods, the fucking staff, all that. And then we see in the time skip, Kawaki ends up possessing that same staff. Now that may not be Ishiki. I'm starting to really believe that Ishiki's dead, because we hear that his soul has been extinguished by Momoshiki as well, who is an actual true blood Otsutsuki. So he would kind of know if Ishiki really died or not. And I'm assuming like through his Byakugan, he would be able, well, he don't have the Renegon, but he had, I believe he would have some type of ocular ability to where he would be able to see Ishiki actually die, and he's an Otsutsuki himself. So I believe the soul being extinguished is more valid coming from Momoshiki than Amado. If it just came straight from Amado, I'd still be suspect. But I truly believe Ishiki's dead. Thus, I no longer believe in my old theory video. If you watch that, you know how Amado's using Kawaki to resurrect Ishiki through a roundabout way. I no longer believe that is true. Now, on to my points as Kawaki as a character. One thing that I think was dope about this chapter itself was Kawaki is beginning to mirror Naruto even deeper. And this is one of those things where it's like, we're waiting for that rift to happen. We're waiting for that moment to where all of a sudden we can start seeing where he becomes evil, quote unquote evil. We don't even know if he's evil, because it seems as if the further the story pushes along, the deeper the bond gets, the closer they get. It's like, damn, these niggas keep becoming more and more father and son like. And it's even like I said, like there's that scene with Shikadai and Kawaki. They're walking through the park. He's letting them know, yo, there's rumors going around. We had a massive attack. This mirrors pretty much Naruto being the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki as a kid. How they didn't fuck with him. Oh, this nigga fucked up the village. Now he has that demon within him. Otsutsuki came through. Kawaki's here. All of a sudden we have like fucking 15 years of fucking peace, whatever the fuck the amount of time was. We had all these years of peace. All of a sudden this nigga pull up and shit gets fucked up. So it's the same shit. He's, you know, starting to hear rumors. Niggas is giving the cold shoulder. He's that dude in the village now. And not only is he starting to mirror Naruto, but he's also starting to blend aspects from Boruto. Like some aspects of Boruto are starting to be true within Kawaki himself. So my first point on that is Boruto's, like an example would be Boruto's initial relationship with his father, how he kind of wanted to remove himself from that being the Hokage's son. He wanted his own path. He didn't necessarily have that respect for his dad, but deep within, he wanted the attention. He wanted, you know, the acknowledgement of his father. Where we have Kawaki, who fucking despises Jigen, hates Jigen, wants nothing to do him. He has that fucking fit. Like he gets the most offended when Amado says, look, man, no matter what the fuck you think, Jigen or Ishiki still exists within you. You have that DNA within you. You will always be his vessel. But within himself, he knows he wants that power that he once had. And with the karma seal, the new karma seal, this technical, this tech karma, this new tech fucking karma, will also mirror Boruto's relationship with the scientific ninja tools, where it's something where he had to kind of learn it's not the tool itself that's evil, but it's how you use the tool. You know, that whole relationship, like, man, fuck these fucking tools, I don't want to use that shit. And now we have Kawaki, where it's like he may have to go through that same thing, where he has to now accept the power from someone he fucking hates and utilize it in his own way, hopefully for good. And this kind of also reminds me of Todoroki from My Hero Academia. He's like, a nigga, I don't want to use that fire, dog. Fuck my dad. I don't fuck with that nigga, you know? But it's kind of, in Kawaki's situation, it's almost like a forming of both. It's like the power from someone who I despise may be that thing that helps me save the person who I love. And maybe in the future, that version of Kawaki that we see is either taken over fully by Amado, like whether it be remotely, or he's doing something that believes he is saving Naruto in a way. Or maybe, I'm even thinking it might be on some Itachi shit where he's forcing Boruto to hate him and kill him because of this power that he has. And he, you know, kind of rescues Naruto, maybe even rescues Naruto, and now he's like, I gotta have this nigga Boruto kill me. On, you know, like Boruto Sasuke and Kawaki's Itachi, you know, his older brother, his bigger brother. I don't know if they're the same age, but the nigga look bigger. And let me just talk about the fucking cover, because the nigga look beautiful, but it's one of those covers where you can't really have as your lock screen because the nigga is too beautiful. It's like sus if you have that shit. This nigga is a fucking model, bro. Like, I can't have it. I got Boruto in action. Like, from this point on, I feel like to have Kawaki as your cover screen, he has to be throwing them hands, because this nigga is just too fucking handsome, bruh. And I'm skipping over the whole Code and Ada scenes, because I'm working on a theory video, and I was waiting for this chapter to drop to kind of confirm and remove things, but I'm pretty solid on what I'm thinking was going on, so I'm gonna drop that, work on that, and then I'm gonna drop that probably, shit, I don't know, I ain't gonna give you a date, but it's gonna be soon, coming soon. But let's talk about that nigga Daemon, nigga. I'm calling him Daemon. I don't give a fuck whether it's Daemon. I'm calling that nigga Daemon. And don't that shit just sound straight? Like, this motherfucker sound like he from the Cloud Village, straight up, with that fucking name. My first impression of him when I first seen him get on Code's back and piggyback was, all right, fuck, it's a fucking kid. When it comes to characters and child characters, I rarely like them. But as soon as I seen him throw them hands, when I seen that taijutsu, when I seen that kick, and that pose at the end, I'm like, okay, it's up for debate. I'm willing to be seduced, pause, and maybe he wins me over. I gotta see, like, if he gets a cover and he's like, if he looks dope, if that nigga got drip and shit, I'm fucking with him. The only thing is, like, this nigga, like, these powers are starting to get ridiculous. Like, this, if you think about killing a nigga, you dead. Like, how are you gonna defeat that shit? There has to be, like, I don't know what the fuck, bruh. But another thing is with his personality, because he seems almost like a jester-like type of dude. Like, he's gonna be silly, he's gonna be, you know, hopping around. I feel like it could go one or two ways. Either I'm gonna hate him, or I'm gonna want like, I feel like I like him in the way, in the aspect of, I hope Boruto fucks him up. Like, I hope Boruto puts the fucking hands on him. Like, he might just exist for me to want Boruto to beat the shit out of. I think it's gonna be one of those things. But my first impression, like, he seems loud, he seems annoying, and he's OP. And when I first seen the glimpses of his power, I thought it was gonna be like a Shin Uchiha's techniques. I thought he was controlling or manipulating their tools, not their fucking intent on killing. That's ridiculous. But we'll see where this goes. I'm gonna end that there. Nice little short one. Peace. Thank y'all niggas for watching. Shit, take care, my niggas. Take care.